Hi, let's start off by creating a really simple Python class. Start off with the class keyword and then define a class name. Later on we're going to see that we ought to use more syntax to define a class, but this is going to get us started. So that's it, we've created a class and now we're going to define some variables, some instance variables that it's going to contain, and all of my pets are going to potentially have legs, but maybe you got a snake, so I say 0 for that. That's it. That's it. I've now created a class. It's just storing. Well, actually, at the moment, it's just a template. I haven't instantiated this class. Let's go ahead and instantiate it. Let's go and create a pet. I've got a pet called Rover. So there you go. Rover is an instance of the pet class. Rover has a number of legs equals 4. I also have a dog called Patch. Patch had a terrible accident and only has 3 legs. Okay, so I've now instantiated 2 objects. I've cloned the pet class twice to create 2 objects, Patch and Rover. And now I can grab information from those 2. There we go, print my dog Patch has, and I'll just has some variable legs. In here I'm going to use the dot format and Patch dot number of legs. Okay, if I run that program, my dog Patch has, and I could, just to make this even simpler, in case that one was a little complicated, I can do print Rover number of legs. Oops, Sublime Text, it's great. And there we go, Rover's number of legs 4. That's the first stage done. Now I want you to create your own pet using the number of legs as an instance variable. Now let's add a method to our class. I like to think of instance variables as nouns and methods as verbs. This is something a pet has, and let's give something a pet to do. So inside the class, remembering the indentation inside Python, I'm going to define eating. And I have to specify self as, we'll come back to why we use self later on. And inside this method, eating, I'm going to say chomp. And now with Rover here, I can specify eating. I have to add those in there. Chomp. Now I'd like you to create a new method called sleep, which prints ZZZ. Okay, now let's try something a little more sophisticated. Let's demonstrate inheritance by creating a new class which is a subclass of pets here. So we're going to create a class again, and this time we're going to create a dog class, but rather than leaving that blank, rather than going straight to colon, we're going to tell the program that it is a subclass of pet, which means it inherits all of the instance variables and methods of the superclass pets. We can add in something now. We can add a method that just dogs have now. So let's define bark. Again, we have to use the self because, well, we're making a template, aren't we? So when we create, when we use this template, the instance of this class needs to reference itself. That's anyway. So the method is bark, and this method is gonna woof when you call it. So let's have a go at doing that. I'm going to Rover. Actually, I'm going to change this to Rover. Rover is a dog. I found Rover's a dog. So I'm just going to demonstrate that Rover can still eat. Chomp chomp. But Rover can now bark as well. Woof. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, it's barking away there. So you can see here. Well, if I'm gonna have Felix is a pet, and Felix can eating. I'll just get rid of Rover. If I run this, oops. Sorry about that. Obviously I missed an I out. So now when I run this, Felix can still eat because he's a pet. But if I try and get Felix to bark, it doesn't do it because Felix is not a dog. If I freakishly turn Felix into a dog, then he can. Okay, I'd like you to create a cat subclass that purrs. Prrr.